Beneath the sun-drenched petals and the haunting harmonies of Midsommar 2019 lies a character as enigmatic as the rituals of Horga itself, Pelle. With his boyish charm, painter's hands, and a smile that glows like midsummer light, he is not merely a guide to the Swedish commune. He is its quiet architect, weaving innocence and manipulation into a tapestry of horror. His role as the welcoming face of the cult masks a chilling duality: the friendly confidant who lures with empathy, and the ruthless true believer who sacrifices without remorse. But how does he rank among cinema's most compelling antagonists? Today, we're calculating the villain score of Ari Aster's pastoral puppeteer based on 6 criteria: personality, capability, moral complexity, threat level, psychological depth, and motive goals. Before we descend into the flower-crowned chaos, let's set the stage. Midsommar 2019, directed by Ari Aster, is a folk horror fever dream wrapped in the blinding sunlight of a Swedish midsummer. The film follows Dani, a grieving American student, and her emotionally distant boyfriend Christian as they travel to a remote commune called Horga with friends, including the ever-serene Pelle, to observe a once-in-90 years solstice festival. What begins as an anthropological curiosity quickly spirals into a psychedelic nightmare as the group witnesses the commune's ritualistic practices, blurring the lines between cultural tradition and cultish brutality against a backdrop of pagan pageantry and hallucinatory beauty. The visitors become pawns in a game older than the runes carved into Horga's temples, and at the center of it all, Pelle, the smiling shepherd guiding his flock to a reckoning they never saw coming. Let's begin with the first category: personality. A villain's allure often hinges on how they occupy space, through charm, menace, or sheer magnetism. Pelle's personality thrives on contradiction. He's a cultist cloaked in a golden retriever's innocence, radiating approachability while orchestrating horror. His charisma isn't loud. He disarms with empathetic nods. "I'm sorry about your family."
I'm so very sorry to hear about your loss.
Oh.
Lures with artistic vulnerability, and never raises his voice, even as chaos erupts. This makes him eerily unique, a villain who feels more like a friend until the petals hit the pyre. Yet he lacks the operatic flair of iconic scene stealers. His power lies in subtlety, not spectacle. You remember him not for grand monologues, but for the chill of realizing his smile was the trap all along. Pelle perfectly embodies Midsommar's subversion of horror itself. While most villains lurk in shadows, he thrives in blinding daylight. His warmth mirrors the film's aesthetic, a sun-soaked nightmare that rejects jump scares and gloom to weaponize openness, community, and beauty. In a genre obsessed with darkness, his horror is insidious because it feels safe. Final personality score, 8.2. Now let's move into something more tactical. Capability, the measure of a villain's lethality beyond brute force. Let's unravel his quiet dominance. His capability is a masterclass in soft power, weaponizing emotional intelligence to engineer the group's demise. Key features: strategic genius, orchestrates the entire trip. He doesn't just invite Dani and her friends to the Horga commune on a whim. He carefully selects emotionally fractured individuals who are unlikely to escape, report, or resist once inside. Social engineering infiltrates the group as a friend, mirroring their pain, sharing his own orphan backstory to build trust. Resourcefulness uses art, psychedelics, and communal gaslighting to destabilize outsiders. Yet his power is context-dependent. Remove him from Horga, and he loses his hive mind advantage. He's not a lone wolf like Hans Landa, but within his cult, he's a conductor of chaos. Final capability score, 6.7. It's time to step into murkier waters, the realm of intention, ideology, and justification, moral complexity. Villains aren't always defined by cruelty. Some believe deeply in the goodness of their cause. Pelle's morality is a paradox. He's both a true believer and a predator, convinced that Horga's atrocities are acts of love.
What's that?
Key nuances: twisted altruism. He recruits Danny and Christian not out of malice, but because he genuinely believes Horga will heal Danny's grief and give Christian purpose. Cultural relativism. To him, the Etastupa, or elder and human sacrifices are sacred, not sadistic. They ensure the commune's survival. Lack of personal conflict. Unlike Danny, he never wavers. His moral certainty is absolute, framed by a lifetime of indoctrination. His morality is shaped entirely by the insular, ritualistic worldview of the Horga. What he does feels horrific to outsiders, but to him, it is no more cruel than modern society's indifference to grief or loneliness. He's not trying to hurt. He's trying to heal through the only lens he understands. Yet, he's no philosopher king justifying his cruelty with nuance. His morality is collective, not personal. He doesn't question, only serves. This robs him of true anti-villain depth. His moral complexity lies not in his psyche, but in how Horga reflects real-world extremism, where devotion eclipses humanity. Rating 6.5. From moral fog to mortal stakes, threat level measures not just how a villain harms, but how deeply they unravel the world around them. But how much carnage can a cultist in linen robes truly unleash? Let's tally the damage.
Danny?
Pelle's threat is viral. He weaponized communal euphoria and shared trauma to dismantle individuality. He embodies Horga's ability to erase outsiders' identities. Simon, Connie, and Josh aren't killed. They're ritualized. Their deaths framed as necessary for the commune's purity. It ensures the commune's survival for another 90 years, perpetuating generational horror. By the end, even Danny, the protagonist, adopts Horga's warped logic, smiling as Christian burns. Pelle's true victory isn't murder, it's conversion. Yet his threat is geographically contained. It isn't personal, but cultural. It reoccurs. It persists. He's a systemic rot, proving that the deadliest villains don't destroy societies. They rebuild them in their image. Final score, 7.1 out of 10. With his threat fully assessed, we now turn inward. What makes a villain linger in the audience's mind isn't just what they do, it's what they carry. The fears they suppress, the beliefs they cling to, and the cracks that never fully heal. With Pelle, that depth is quiet and understated, but it's absolutely present. He hints at a painful past. He reveals that his parents died in a fire when he was young.
My parents, they burned up in a fire and...
Strongly implied to be a previous ritual sacrifice. This isn't just exposition. It's a trauma that defines his view of death, family, and community. He wasn't just born into the cult, he was shaped by it through grief. His ability to remain calm and emotionally engaged, even while leading his friends to ritual slaughter, suggests intense psychological compartmentalization. His warmth toward Danny may not be fake, it just exists in parallel with his capacity for horrifying indifference. He doesn't seem emotionally hollow. He genuinely values connection, art, and tradition. He feels. That's what makes him so difficult to pin down. He mourns with the Horga, celebrates with them, and grieves through them. He is, in every way, a product of collective conditioning, but also an individual who fully believes in what he's doing. Pelle's psychological complexity is limited only by the film's focus. We don't get a full arc or descent. We only glimpse the depths. He is not overtly tormented, but he's built on buried grief, repressed emotion, and a disturbingly functional belief system. Final rating, 7.9 over 10. We've unpacked his psychology. But now, let's ask the most critical question. Why does he do it? Behind every great villain lies a motive, a vision, or a belief so potent that it drives everything they do. Let's move into our final category. Motive/goals. Pelle's primary motive is to sustain the Horga, their way of life, their sacred rituals, their balance with nature. It's not just about keeping the tradition alive, it's about sharing it. He sees beauty in Horga's worldview, and he wants others to see it too. When he speaks of family, connection, and understanding, he's not faking sincerity. He means it.
I know what it's like, because I really, really do.
There's an unspoken wound in his past. In a twisted way, bringing new members into the Horga is a legacy. It's how he turns his pain into purpose. His mission isn't driven by hatred, it's driven by healing, as defined by his cult's doctrine. Pelle's goals shape the entire plot. He's the catalyst. Without him, Danny doesn't travel to Sweden. Without his quiet interventions, Christian and the others wouldn't be there to die. And without his nurturing yet subtly guiding hand, Danny would never become the May Queen. His goal is the engine of the story. What makes his motive potent is that it offers Danny something she doesn't get from her boyfriend or her American life: empathy, presence, and ritualized emotional validation. His worldview directly challenges Danny's fractured one. And that tension is what gives Midsommar its unsettling heartbeat. His goals are not bombastic, but they're deeply personal, thematically rich, and eerily logical. His belief in what he's doing makes him all the more haunting, not because he's trying to destroy the world, but because he truly believes he's saving it. Final rating, 8.3 out of 10. After dissecting Pelle through all 6 categories, we arrive at his final villain score. Final average score, 7.45 over 10. He shines in his personality and motive. He relies heavily on the system of the Horga and plays the long game through subtle influence. His threat level, while strong in emotional and ideological terms, doesn't reach existential heights. He doesn't burn the world. He just invites you to light the match. Pelle is proof that not all villains come with knives, powers, or growling monologues. Some come with warm smiles, shared grief, and offers of community. He's a villain cloaked in empathy, a manipulator disguised as a friend. His horror lies not in what he does, but in what he represents. The terrifying ease with which one can be welcomed, embraced, and consumed. He doesn't force you to join the cult. He just makes sure you never want to leave.